Hello, innovation students. This is Mr. Chamberlain. I have a very quick tutorial for you for how to use the very basics of the Silhouette Cutter. If you look at somewhere on your screen, you're going to have this S with white and blue. That is called Silhouette Studio. When you open it up, your edition might be different than my edition, which is okay. All the same buttons are still found there. They're just in different spots. So if you look carefully, you shouldn't have an issue. So when you open it up, you will see a bunch of stuff here, and you should see a bunch of stuff here on the upper right. This has been moved over to here, although it is exactly the same thing. So the Silhouette Cutter is basically a sticker maker. Anything that you create on here that's red will be cut by the machine, which is very similar to our laser cutters. You will get a vector by doing red, you'll get it cut out here. So extremely simple stuff. If you wanted to write a word or something like hello, once you put it there, it's very easy to click and drag around. You can use the magnifying glass wherever it is on yours to zoom in and look at stuff. You can also change the size of it by grabbing things, but just so that you get the basic idea, if it's red, it's going to be cut. So what you would get in here is the letters HELLO that are cut out. Super basic. You can also mess around with shapes and other designs. One of the other things that people like to use here is putting a silhouette, so an outline of something. I'm going to show you really quickly how to do that and the pros and cons of it. Let's say that you wanted to get a picture of Pokemon, and you wanted to put some silhouette in there. So you can find any image you want. You just have to save it to your desktop. So if you want to know how to save it, you're going to get to the point where you can look at the image, right click on it and save it. I've actually already saved one to the desktop, but we would save it. If you don't know where to save it, if it doesn't say desktop, it won't go there. So you want to select desktop. So once you've saved it there, then this is something that you can open in Silhouette. So if I go to File, Open, and as long as I'm looking in the desktop, I can look through my choices. I got the Pokemon sign there. It opens, you can actually see it opens a new window. And so I've got my Pokemon here. Now, if you haven't already noticed, let me get rid of this. If you haven't already noticed, if I zoom in on this Pokemon sign, you will see that it doesn't have any red on it. See how there's no red outline? This actually won't cut. Nothing will happen when you try to use the Silhouette Cutter. We have to trace an outline, which is something that you can do with the laser cutter as well. There's a little butterfly picture up here, and the butterfly is actually right here, but when you click on the butterfly thing, you'll get a few options. You can trace something as long as you press the button Select Trace Area. So when you select it, it'll say, click and drag and show me what you want to select. So I want to trace the stuff that's in here. Now, I have a few choices. Yours might be in a different spot, but we've got trace it, trace the outer edge, and then trace and detach. You're almost always going to want to trace the outer edge of something. You won't get fine details, but you will get the outer side. So I just press trace outer edge. So now if I move this, I will see that it traced the outside of the Pokemon symbol. Now, if you look carefully, this actually isn't going to look too good because while it will cut this out, someone who knows their Pokemon pretty well can tell that's the sign. But look, it's going to cut around here, this weird thing. So if you actually tried to peel it off, it might not look very good. That's why the objects that we want to look for are silhouetted objects. Let me show you what I mean by that. So if I did Pokemon, or let me do baseball, just as something that I know it'll show up. If I type in silhouette, I will get the outer trace. See? This is something that's going to trace really well. I'll show you as an example. If I get to the picture that I want, let's get to one that's going to open the way I want it to open. Okay, I got my picture. I'm going to save it to the desktop. Now, if I want to open this, I'll find it on the desktop. It'll open in a new page. I got it here. Just like before with the words, you can just click on it and make it as big or as little as you want. So this time, when I go to my little butterfly trace and select this, I can guarantee you if I want to trace the outer edge, I click that, and now look, when I move it, I've got a perfectly traced baseball bat player. And so when I cut that out, it'll actually look like the way it's supposed to. A couple other things you can try once you've selected it. You can mess around with thickness and stuff. The outline is one of the choices. This one works really well too if I wanted to do the outline of it on the outer edge. Looks like it gets us the same thing. If I wanted to do just the outline of it, there we go, trace the outline. See, that I can get these little fine details. So either way, if you try to do something that's not silhouetted, it's kind of hard and tricky to get it. But if you use just an outline picture, or, I even did one that was like a sketch where it's not as complicated looking. So it's just a simple one. So if I want to go and trace that just like before, see, I can do a trace of the outer edge, and there you go. It's a perfect Pikachu. The only bad thing about this is, let's say I wanted to do what I did last time with that little fine part of the baseball player. If I trace this and I do an outline, then I might get something that's a little too much detail. Let me try it one more time. So I'll pick this, and we're going to say do the outline of it, and I'll trace it. See, that looks great too, but again, it's going to double cut here, so you're going to get this big mass of something that won't really come out. So our suggestion for you for simple things is just to select a traced area and just do the outer edge. Outer edge is a pretty guaranteed way to do it as long as you've got it solid. That's the very, very, very basics, and you can mess around with it beyond that.